Chapter 1: The 1% Mindset Shift. Most people think wealth begins in the bank. The elite know wealth begins in the mind. The difference between the 99% and the 1% has never been money, it is thinking. Two people can start with the same amount, the same salary, the same phone in their pocket, the same number of hours in a day, yet one dies struggling while the other becomes financially untouchable. Why? Because one sees money as something you spend. The other sees money as something you grow. The average person asks, "How can I afford this?" The wealthy ask, "How can I make this pay me?" That one question alone shapes destinies. Scarcity versus abundance. The poor and middle class live in a world of scarcity. They believe resources are limited, opportunities are rare, and money is something you can run out of at any moment. So they cling to every dollar like a breath underwater. The wealthy live in a world of abundance. Not because they have more money, but because they understand money flows toward value. They know opportunities are created, not found. Money isn't luck, it's a consequence. A consequence of mindset. A consequence of decisions. A consequence of how you see the world. The 1% rule of perspective. Two people look at a $1,000 investment. One thinks, "That's too risky." The 1% thinks, "That's too small, how do I turn it into $10,000? Most people look at business and see work. The wealthy look at business and see freedom. Most people see problems. The wealthy see problems and smell profit. Short-term sacrifice versus long-term reward. The world today is addicted to instant gratification. Spend now. Enjoy now. Flex now. Post the lifestyle before ever living it. But the 1% operate by a different law, the law of delayed gratification. They understand that every dollar you spend is gone forever. But every dollar invested becomes a soldier, one that works while you sleep. The poor trade time for comfort. The rich trade time for freedom. One buys pleasure. The other buys power. The mental reset. To think like the wealthy, you must unlearn what you were taught. Growing up, you were told, get good grades, get a good job, work for a good salary, save money. Yet no billionaire in history built wealth by saving. They built wealth by multiplying, by leveraging, by owning. You were taught to avoid risk. Wealthy thinkers know risk is not something to fear. Risk is something to calculate and use. Where most people see danger, the elite see information. Every failed business teaches. Every investment lost educates. Every attempt sharpened their strategy. Failure is tuition, the most priceless university in existence. The identity shift. Wealth begins the day you stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a creator. The day you stop asking for opportunities and start building them. The day you realize that making money is not reserved for the lucky. Money is created by those who understand value. You do not work to earn money. You learn to earn money. Then your money works for you. This is the identity of the top 1%. Money isn't the goal, freedom is. Freedom to wake up when you want. Freedom to choose how you spend your day. Freedom from stress, from survival, from dependence. Freedom to live like life is yours, not rented. The shift from employee to owner. We were raised to be employees. Rewarded for following rules, not breaking patterns. The wealthy break patterns. They build instead of obey. They create instead of consume. They seek leverage instead of labor. An employee asks, "How much will they pay me?" An owner asks, "How much value can I create?" The first question has a ceiling. The second is infinite. The 1% think in systems. A person driven by scarcity thinks day by day. The 1% think decades. A worker says, "I need money today." A wealthy thinker says, "I will plant something today that pays me forever." That is the difference. That is the foundation. That is the rule. Action steps, becoming the 1% from today. At the end of every chapter in this book, you will receive frameworks, because mindset without action is wasted potential. Today's 1% practice. Every dollar must have a job. Not to be spent, but to grow. Choose long-term over right now. You can party later. You can flex later. Secure the foundation first. Replace consumption with creation. Don't buy a course, apply it. Don't watch success, build it. Think in decades, not weeks. Your future self is watching you. Build something they'll thank you for. Never ask, how much does it cost? Ask instead, what will this return? This is chapter 1. The beginning of a new identity. You don't become wealthy by changing your bank account. You become wealthy by changing your mind. The elite are not born, they are built. Brick by brick. Belief by belief. Decision by decision. And now so are you. Chapter 2. Value, the only currency that matters. Wealth does not come from working hard. If it did, construction workers, cleaners, farmers, and factory workers would be the richest people alive. Wealth comes from value, the kind that solves problems, the kind people gladly pay for. The middle class chases money. The wealthy chase value, knowing money follows it like a shadow. This is the first undeniable law of the elite mind. You are not paid for your time. You are paid for the value you bring to the time. 2 people can work 8 hours. One earns $20. The other earns $20,000. The difference is not the hours. It is the value packed inside those hours. The world pays problem solvers, not time sellers. A 1% thinker wakes up in the morning and asks, whose life can I make easier today? What problem can I solve that others avoid? Because every problem in life has a price tag attached to it. A man with a leaking roof needs someone to fix it. A business owner who can't get customers needs someone to market them. A student who can't learn fast enough needs someone to teach them better. Problems are not obstacles. Problems are income streams waiting to be claimed. The 99% avoid problems. The 1% hunts them. Consumption versus production. The middle class consumes. They watch entertainment. They scroll endlessly. They buy to feel good. They spend to escape stress. They consume information but rarely convert it into action. The wealthy produce. They write. They build. They teach. They package solutions into products, services, investments, businesses. Money flows to creators, not consumers. Every time you consume without creating, you enrich someone else. Every time you produce, you open a door for money to move toward you. Consumption is quick pleasure. Creation is long-term power. The pyramid of value. Most people operate at the lowest tier of value, labor. They trade time for money, and time is the only currency they will never replenish. But the wealthy climb the pyramid. Labor, time for money, lowest level. Skill, specialized ability people pay for. Leverage, systems, people, capital multiplying results. Ownership, assets produce money without you. The goal is not to work forever. The goal is to rise through these levels until money works for you. The 99% stop at level 1. The 1% climb higher, because they think higher. Specialization, the money multiplier. General skills are free. Everyone can talk, walk, type, drive, and think. Specialized skills are expensive. Copywriting, closing and sales, marketing, trading, software creation, systems building, team leadership, product development. The more rare the skill, the more leverage it carries, the more income it commands. Most people never become wealthy because they never become rare. They stay ordinary. They stay replaceable. And the world pays them accordingly. But the second you commit to a skill, truly commit, money will begin moving toward you like metal to a magnet. The hidden habit of the wealthy. The elite are obsessive learners, not casual learners. The poor want entertainment. The middle class wants motivation. The wealthy want information that pays them back. They treat knowledge like gold. They devour books like oxygen. They study people who are ahead of them, not those beside them. A wealthy mind has no ego. It is hungry, curious, never satisfied. Learning is not something they do in school. Learning is something they do for life. Because knowledge compounds like money, and eventually, it becomes unstoppable. The 1% do not ask for permission. Most people wait. Wait for confidence. Wait for the perfect time. Wait for someone to say, "You're ready." The wealthy start. Unprepared, unsure, unpolished, but in motion. Motion builds momentum. Momentum builds mastery. Mastery builds freedom. A wealthy thinker knows progress beats perfection. Imperfect action beats perfect intention every single time. You don't become successful then begin. You begin and become successful. The 1% see the world like investors. Most brains think in cost. The 1% brain thinks in return. A book is not $25. It is $25 for a new skill that could make you $25,000. A course is not $200. It might replace your job. A mentor is not expensive. Ignorance is more expensive. You can lose money and recover. You lose time and it's gone forever. The rich do not fear investing. They fear not investing. Because standing still is the greatest loss of all. The true source of wealth. Money does not make you wealthy. Value does. Money is simply the receipt. Proof you delivered something useful to the world. If you increase your value, you increase your income. If you master a skill, you multiply your income. If you build systems, you separate income from effort. Money is never the goal. Value is the goal. And money chases value without fail. Action steps. Build value like the 1%. Learn one rare skill deeply. Become too valuable to ignore. Solve problems, don't run from them. Every problem has a price. Produce more than you consume. Creation is the doorway to wealth. Invest in learning, not luxury. Knowledge compounds faster than assets. Think like an owner, not an employee. Ask how to create value, not how to earn wage. Move fast. Improve later. Execution beats perfection. Become rare. Become valuable. Become inevitable. If you understand this chapter, you have already outgrown most of the world. You are stepping into the mindset of the 1%. And once your thinking changes, your entire financial destiny will follow. Chapter 3, The Rule of Compound Power, Small Money, Big Future. One of the greatest financial secrets in the world is this. Wealth is not built in leaps. It is built in layers. Not through sudden windfalls, lottery moments, or one lucky break, but through the quiet, consistent compounding of small advantages. This is the 1% money rule. The poor want to double their income tomorrow. The middle class hopes for a miracle. The wealthy understand that tiny daily improvements, smarter decisions, better positioning, disciplined investing, grow into unimaginable results over time. The game is not about intensity. It's about continuity. Money builds like bricks. One brick feels like nothing. 100 forms a wall. 10,000? A fortress. The 1% work brick by brick. The first domino is small, but powerful. Think of wealth like dominoes. The first one is tiny, almost laughable. Saving $5. Reading 10 pages. Investing $20. Learning a new skill for 30 minutes. Alone they seem insignificant. But when stacked, consistently, they begin knocking down larger dominoes. $5 becomes $500. $500 becomes $5,000. $5,000 becomes capital. Capital becomes opportunity. And opportunity becomes power. Most people fail because they judge today's result and stop too early. They don't see what $1 can become, only what it currently is. A wealthy mind sees potential where others see smallness. Compound interest is not a math concept, it's a life concept. Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Not because of the numbers, but because it rewards the rarest trait of humans: patience. The majority quit when results are slow. The majority want progress they can touch. Not progress that is growing quietly beneath the soil. But wealth roots itself like bamboo. Years of nothing. Then suddenly, a forest. Compounding works invisibly, then all at once. The 1% know this, so they stay in the game longer than the 99% can endure. They invest when others doubt. They save when others spend. They learn while others rest. They let time become a teammate, not an opponent. Time is the strongest multiplier on earth. But only for those who begin early and stay longer. The small habits that turn ordinary people into the 1%. The elite do not wait to have money to behave wealthy. They adopt wealthy habits long before the money arrives. Because wealth is not money. Wealth is behavior. Tiny habits compound. Reading 20 minutes a night makes you an annual reader. Saving 1% of your income grows into investment capital. Learning one skill deeply can replace your job. Cutting daily unnecessary spending funds opportunity. You don't become wealthy by changing your bank balance. You become wealthy by changing your habits. Money follows identity. You must become the type of person who handles money well, before you hold large amounts of it. Otherwise, you lose it as fast as you earn it. Lottery winners prove this. Athletes prove this. Celebrities prove this. Money without discipline is temporary. Money with systems becomes permanent. The silent advantage of long-term thinkers. The average person thinks in days. The middle class thinks in months. The wealthy think in decades. They ask, how will this decision benefit me 10 years from now? Is this purchase a liability or an asset? Is this relationship expanding or draining me? Does this habit take me toward wealth or away from it? Long-term thinking is the passport to freedom. Because wealth rewards those who plan further than the crowd. When everyone rushes, the 1% wait. When everyone spends, the 1% save. When everyone panics, the 1% prepare. When everyone quits, the 1% persist. The difference is not intelligence. It's perspective. You cannot win the long game with a short-term mind. The 1% money rule: magnify the small. The elite know something few people ever understand. The small decisions are the big decisions. The coffee you skip could buy a stock share. The Friday night out could be investment capital. One book could unlock $1 million idea. One mentor could compress 10 years into one. The middle class sees what they lose. The wealthy see what they could gain. The 1% money rule is simple. Improve something by 1% every day. Money, skill, discipline, positioning. And you become unstoppable. Because 1% daily growth doubles you roughly every 72 days. And doubled enough times? You become unrecognizable, financially and mentally. The goal is not massive action. The goal is consistent elevation. The goal is momentum. The goal is to make your future inevitable. Action steps: start the compound engine. Increase your income or knowledge by 1% every day. Even something tiny counts. Save or invest a small amount weekly. Not because it's much, but because it's momentum. Track progress monthly, not daily. Watch the growth arc, not the small bumps. Replace 10 minutes of scrolling with 10 minutes of learning. Compounded knowledge becomes wealth. Hold investments longer than your emotions want to. Patience is profit. Identify one bad financial habit and reduce it by 1%. Small improvements scale massively. Repeat. Relentlessly. Quietly. Confidently. You don't need more speed. You need more endurance. You don't need more money. You need more discipline. You don't need a miracle. You need compounding. Wealth is not built by giant leaps. It is built by small steps that never stop. Chapter 4. The Wealth Lens. Seeing opportunity where others see nothing. Most people fail to escape the financial ceiling not because they are incapable, but because they are blind to opportunity. Not visually blind, mentally blind. They walk past possibilities every day but never recognize their value. They wait for wealth to appear wrapped in gold and certainty. Not realizing wealth usually appears disguised as a small idea, an annoying problem, or an inconvenient task. The elite see money where others see maintenance. They see leverage where others see labor. They see potential where others see average. This is the wealth lens. A way of looking at the world that turns ordinary moments into money. Once your perception changes, your income follows. The 1% money rule doesn't start in your wallet. It starts in your awareness. The difference is in what you notice. Two people walk through the same city. One sees crowded shops, overpriced coffee, traffic, and noise. The other sees opportunity. A store that needs better marketing. A product that could be made cheaper or better. A high-demand service missing in a busy area. A problem people complain about but nobody solves. Same place. Different eyesight. The wealthy brain filters reality for profit signals. Not luck, logic. The 99% experience inconvenience. The 1% monetizes it. The world rewards those who notice what others ignore. The wealthy ask better questions. Most people ask, how much will this cost me? The wealthy ask, how much will this make me? How can this scale? How can I own instead of rent? How can I automate instead of repeat? Questions shape awareness. Awareness shapes decisions. Decisions shape income. The quality of your questions determines the quality of your wealth. The 1% look for value gaps. A value gap is a space where people want something, but the market isn't delivering effectively. Every business, every fortune, every innovation came from spotting a gap. Airbnb noticed travelers wanted cheaper stays. Uber noticed people wanted rides without taxis. Online creators noticed people wanted knowledge instantly. The middle class waits for permission. The wealthy invent the solution. The world doesn't pay for ideas. It pays for solved problems. Misery is market data. Where people complain, money hides. Every frustration is a business plan. Every irritation is a future product. The most successful entrepreneurs didn't search for brilliance. They listened for complaints and monetized relief. Someone said, "This takes too long." And convenience businesses were born. Someone said, "I keep losing my files." Cloud storage became billion-dollar infrastructure. Someone said, "Learning is too boring." Audiobooks and summarized learning platforms exploded. The wealthy don't avoid pain. They solve it and sell the solution. You don't need million-dollar ideas, just million-dollar execution. The curse of the average thinker is waiting for perfection. The perfect plan, perfect capital, perfect timing, perfect clarity. The wealthy understand the opposite. Perfection is a trap. Execution is the exit. Most fortunes did not begin with brilliance. They began with trying. Messy, uncertain, incomplete. But movement creates information. Information creates improvement. Improvement creates money. The middle class wants clarity before starting. The wealthy start to find clarity. Action reveals opportunity more than thinking ever will. Relationships are a form of wealth. A wealthy person never walks into a room and wonders, "Who is important here?" They ask, "Who can I help? Who can I learn from? Who can I build with?" Networks build empires. One connection can change your trajectory faster than 5 years of grinding alone. The poor chase money. The wealthy cultivate relationships that create money. Some doors don't open with cash. They open with trust. And trust compounds just like capital. The 1% mind is opportunity conscious, not victim conscious. The average person says, "I can't do that. I don't have enough. I'm not ready." And with those sentences they shut off possibility. The wealthy say, "How can I? What do I need to learn? Who can I partner with?" These words activate the brain. They push it to search for solutions. They pull opportunity toward awareness. Opportunity does not require money. It requires openness. A closed mind rejects wealth long before it touches the bank account. The world is full of money, you just need to see it. Money is not scarce. Money is circulating constantly, every second in every city, online and offline, flowing like a river. Most people stand beside the river watching it pass. The wealthy build channels that redirect it into their hands. You don't chase money. You intercept money. You position yourself where value meets demand, where solutions meet frustration, where skill meets opportunity. The money is already flowing. The question is, are you standing in the stream or waiting on the shore? Action steps. Train your wealth lens. When you see a problem, ask, "How could this be solved profitably?" Instead of complaining, analyze. Complaints are clues. Study thriving businesses and identify what makes them work. Each week, list 5 inconveniences and brainstorm solutions. Talk to people. Listen for patterns in their frustrations. Think in terms of return, not cost. Look for what is missing, not what already exists. You don't need more opportunities. You need sharper eyes. When you learn to see the world through the wealth lens, money becomes visible, everywhere, always, endlessly. This is how the elite think. This is how they move. This is how they build fortunes from dust. Chapter 5. Value time. The wealth rule almost no one learns early enough. Most people are taught that money comes from hard work. Work more hours, earn more income. Wake up early, grind harder, push until your back aches and your mind burns. But here is the uncomfortable truth. You cannot work your way to wealth by selling time. There are only 24 hours in a day, and only one of you. You can work double as hard and still remain in the same cage. Because the real economy doesn't reward effort, it rewards value. The wealthy know this deeply. The world pays them not for how long they work, but for the magnitude of what they create. The poor earn by the hour. The middle class earns by skill. The wealthy earn by value delivered at scale. This is not luck, it is structure. And once you understand the structure, you stop trying to become wealthier through more effort, and start becoming wealthier through more leverage. Why you can't win the money game selling hours. Let's break it plainly. If you earn $10 per hour, you must give 10 hours to earn $100. Your income is chained to your time. And chains, no matter how shiny, are still chains. The average worker believes, I need to work more to earn more. The wealthy believe, I need to build something that earns even when I stop working. A product, a business, a skill leveraged online, a system, an asset, something that breaks the equation of hours equals income. If you're paid by the hour, sleep is a liability. If you're paid by value, sleep becomes income. The number one indicator of wealth is this. Do you get paid when you're not working? Until the answer is yes, you're not free, only employed. The shift from labor to leverage. Wealth is built in this sequence. Labored skill and leverage ownership. The poor stay at labor. The middle class reaches skill. The wealthy reach leverage, and then ownership. Labor earns linear income. Skill earns elevated income. Leverage earns exponential income. Ownership earns generational income. Your goal is not to work harder, your goal is to move up the ladder. Imagine two people. Person A works 10 hours a day, gets paid weekly. When they stop, the income stops. Person B builds an online course, writes a book, creates software, runs ads, owns real estate, invests. Works intensely once, gets paid continuously. Same hours, different architecture, different life. The wealthy sell solutions, not time. Ask yourself this. Does a book take thousands of hours to write? Yes. Does the author get paid only once? No. Every person who buys, reads, shares, recommends, pays again and again. Value, not hours, drives wealth. A lawyer charges $500 per hour not because of the hour, but because 10 years of knowledge exist behind that hour. A consultant earns $10,000 not because their work took a week, but because knowing what not to do saved the client a year. We pay plumbers $150 for 5 minutes of work, not because the 5 minutes matter, but because we can't do what they can do. People pay for solutions, clarity, and results, not time. Once you grasp this, you stop asking, how long will this take me? And start asking, what is my solution worth to someone? That shift multiplies your income. The secret of scaling value. If you solve one problem for one person, that is income. If you solve one problem for 1,000 people, that is wealth. This is scalability, the core of the 1% money rule. One video can be watched 1,000,000 times. One product can be sold to 1,000,000 people. One system can operate without you. One investment can grow while you sleep. This is how a wealthy person thinks. How can I earn repeatedly from a single effort? The poor seek one-time payment. The wealthy create infinite payout streams. Never aim to be paid once, aim to be paid forever. The most important question you will ever ask about money. Instead of asking, how can I earn more? You ask, how can I create value that multiplies? Because multiplied value is multiplied wealth. One creation, one idea, one service, one piece of infrastructure, one online platform, one skill leveraged correctly, can pay more than 20 years of hourly labor. The wealthy are not smarter. They simply believe in leverage more than labor. And belief is the beginning of reality. Action steps. Shift from hours to value. Identify one skill you can learn deeply and become known for. Create something once that can be sold or used repeatedly. Stop selling hours, start selling transformation or results. Study pricing psychology. Premium value comes from outcome, not effort. Build a system that works without your constant involvement. Ask every week, how do I increase leverage? Replace hard work with high-value work. You are not paid for time. You are paid for impact. And impact can be duplicated, distributed, automated, multiplied, until the world pays you more than you ever imagined. The day you stop trading hours for money is the day you begin your ascent to the 1%. Chapter 6: The Invisible Game of Money, What Wealthy People Never Say Out Loud. Most people believe wealth is earned through hard work, and that's only partly true. Hard work might get you money, yes, but it won't get you wealth. The wealthy understand something deeper, something subtle, something most people never even realize exists. Money is not just earned. It is positioned, multiplied, and protected. This is the invisible game. The 1% do not make decisions casually. They don't chase trends or let emotions dictate investments, or brag about what they own. In fact, the wealthiest people you will ever meet rarely talk about money directly. When they do, their words are strategic, calculated, almost coded. Because money is never just about money. It is about leverage, control, longevity, compounding, and the ability to survive and grow through time. This chapter reveals the rules of the invisible game, not the public strategies you see on motivational posters, but the quiet habits only the wealthy live by. Rule number 1: they buy time while everyone else sells theirs. The middle class says, "I need more money, I should work more hours." The wealthy say, "I need more money, I should remove myself from hours." Rich people don't trade time for income, they trade systems for income. They build cash flow engines that run without them: businesses, intellectual property, automated products, rental income, royalties, ownership stakes, leveraged labor. They work so they can eventually stop working. The average person tries to escape poverty by adding effort. The wealthy escape effort by adding leverage. Rule number 2: they position money, not just earn it. If you earn $100, you are not wealthy. If you position $100 so it produces more, you are. Wealthy people don't ask, "How much did I make?" They ask, "Where did I place what I made and what did it return?" Money in a savings account sleeps. Money in motion multiplies. This is why the wealthy love assets: real estate, equity ownership, index funds, private business shares, cash-flowing digital assets, scalable intellectual property. Not because these things make them rich fast, but because they make them rich forever. Rule number 3: they think in decades, not days. The middle class wants results now. The wealthy want results forever. This is why most people lose at investing. They are addicted to urgency, impatience, the high of the quick win. They sell when the price drops. They panic when the market shakes. They think wealth is a sprint. But wealth is a glacier. Slow, silent, unstoppable. While others say, "This stock hasn't moved in 6 months." The wealthy say, "This asset will double every 7 to 10 years. I can wait." A decade is nothing to them, because they think in lifetimes. Rule number 4: they don't spend to impress, they spend to expand. Money leaves 2 kinds of trails: status spending, clothes, gadgets, cars to be seen; expansion spending, skills, tools, assets to grow. The poor buy things to prove they have money. The wealthy buy things that produce more money. If spending does not bring returns, financially, intellectually, or strategically, they don't do it. Every dollar is a soldier, and they send their soldiers to conquer territory, not to decorate the throne room. Wealth grows quietly. Status shrinks loudly. Rule number 5: they study patterns, not inspiration. Motivation is loud. Patterns are silent. The wealthy don't consume content for hype, they consume it for architecture. Case studies, cycles, history, cause and effect. While others ask, "What book motivates me?" the wealthy ask, "What book shows me how wealth was actually built?" They search for repeatability. Because anything repeatable is scalable. Anything scalable is wealth. The invisible game is not emotional, it is mechanical. Money obeys rules the way physics obeys gravity. If you understand the rules, you rise. If you ignore the rules, you fall, no matter how hard you work. The wealthy are not special, they are strategic. They simply learned how the game operates and they stopped playing it emotionally. You can do the same. Microactions to become a player in the invisible game. Tomorrow morning, when the world wakes up thinking about what to earn, you wake up thinking about where to position. 1. Choose one wealth vehicle and commit to mastering it for 10 years. Stocks, real estate, business. Mastery, not variety, creates power. 2. Track net worth monthly, not income. Income is noise, net worth is signal. 3. Redirect 10 to 30% of every dollar you earn into assets. Treat saving like rent, non-negotiable, automatic. 4. Spend on tools and skills, not symbols. Every purchase should multiply your ability or returns. Wealth begins when your money starts working harder than you do. The top 1% are not lucky, they are consistent. They don't chase growth, they engineer it. They don't talk rich, they compound quietly. The invisible game is already being played around you. It's time you stop watching and start participating. Chapter 7, Money as Power. Why wealth is not about luxury but freedom. People assume the rich want wealth for cars, penthouses, private jets, images plastered across social media like trophies. But those who genuinely understand money know something the world rarely sees. Wealth is not luxury. Wealth is power. Wealth is freedom. A luxury car is not wealth. It's a liability unless it earns or leverages influence. A mansion is not wealth, unless it expands power, productivity, or return. The wealthy don't chase things. They chase position. Because money is more than currency. It is permission. Permission to choose how you live. Permission to say no. Permission to walk away. Permission to build. Permission to protect your future. This chapter is about that power, the silent, strategic kind that never needs to show off because reality speaks for itself. The first power, the ability to walk away. Ask yourself, if your boss fired you today, could you survive? If your business failed tomorrow, could you recover? If the market collapsed for 2 years, could you stand still? If the answer is no, you are not free, even if you earn well. Wealth is not measured by salary but by survival time without work. The wealthy don't accumulate money just to admire it, they accumulate it to reduce dependence. Their goal isn't to live extravagantly today, but to live unforced forever. They can walk away from bad deals. They can walk away from toxic people. They can walk away from obligations. Money buys exit, and exit is power. The second power, control over time. When you're broke, time feels expensive. When you're wealthy, time becomes your most valuable asset, even more than money. Most people spend their days earning income. The wealthy spend their income earning back days. Time is the real currency. Money is just the vehicle that stores it. When you stop thinking, how do I earn more? And start asking, how do I buy back my time? You begin thinking like the top 1%. True wealth is waking up and deciding, what do I want to do today, not what must I do? The third power, choice. Money gives you distance from desperation. And desperation is where poor decisions live. When you have no money, you accept low wages. You tolerate disrespect. You rush decisions. You hold on to toxic relationships. You say yes when you want to say no. But with wealth, the world rearranges around you. When you have money, you choose where you live. You choose who you work with. You choose how your day feels. You choose what your life becomes. Choice is the most underrated power money provides, and it changes everything. The fourth power, silence. Interesting truth. Wealthy people don't need to announce success. They are success. The loudest rich people are almost always the least stable. True wealth is quiet because it's secure. When wealth becomes real, you stop needing validation. You no longer need eyes on you to feel worthy. The wealthy don't show off because they aren't trying to convince anyone. They're too busy building more. Their status is internal. Their confidence is compound interest. Their identity is fortified by independence. They understand. You don't have to be seen to be powerful. Power is felt. The fifth power, the ability to help. This is the most profound. With wealth, you can change lives, not just your own. You can lift people up, fund ideas, give opportunities, build systems that outlive you. The wealthy don't just earn, they enable. They leave impact, not just footprints. Money is oxygen for progress, and when you control oxygen, you breathe on your own terms. So what is the goal of wealth? Not cars, not status, not validation. The goal is freedom. Freedom to choose your life consciously, not reactively. Freedom to escape survival mode. Freedom to build instead of beg. Freedom to move through the world without fear. When money becomes power instead of performance, you no longer chase wealth, you shape it. You no longer spend for display, you spend for expansion. You no longer fear the future, you architect it. That is the real 1% rule. Wealth isn't about having more. It's about needing less and controlling more. Chapter 8. Mastering Risk, How the 1% Turn Uncertainty into Profit. Most people fear risk like fire. They avoid it, step back from it, pray life won't require them to stand too close. The wealthy? They warm their hands with it. They cook with it. They build empires using the same flame ordinary people run from. Risk is not danger when understood. Risk is only danger when ignored. This is one of the greatest separators between the 1% and everyone else. The wealthy manage risk, the poor avoid it. Avoidance feels safe, but safety is expensive. Every opportunity you don't take costs you time, and time is the most valuable currency you will ever own. To think like the elite, you must rewire your relationship with uncertainty. You must stop seeing risk as a threat and start seeing it as leverage. Because everything you want, wealth, freedom, power, opportunity, sits just beyond the line of what feels comfortable. You don't get rich by standing still. You get rich by learning how to walk into uncertainty with intelligence and preparation. Why most people fail with money? Not because they're lazy. Not because they aren't smart. But because they're afraid. Afraid to invest. Afraid to change direction. Afraid to start. Afraid to lose. The irony is brutal. The fear of loss guarantees loss. If you don't invest, inflation eats your money. If you don't take opportunities, someone else will. If you don't grow, the world moves past you. In trying to avoid risk, most people guarantee failure. Meanwhile, the wealthy think differently. They know risk isn't something to hide from, it's something to calculate and control. They gather information, strategy, and probability like armor. They don't jump blind, they build a bridge while everyone else stands at the edge staring down. The difference is not confidence, it is competence. The 1% never bet, they calculate. Average people think wealthy individuals gamble. They look at entrepreneurs, investors, and innovators and assume they're taking wild leaps in the dark. But this is false. The rich don't leap, they measure. The elite don't invest in hope. They invest in patterns, fundamentals, and probability. Before they move money, they ask questions like, what is the worst case? What is the likelihood of recovery? What information am I missing? How can I minimize downside? How can I multiply upside? They don't enter environments blindly. They enter knowing. If things go wrong, I survive. Things go right, I grow. This is asymmetric risk, minimal downside, massive upside. And that is where wealth lives. The poor sin of risk, all or nothing. People who lack financial discipline often treat risk like a casino. They bet everything on one idea, one stock, one business, one moment of inspiration. They seek instant gains instead of long-term advantage. They crave the emotional high of winning big rather than building slowly and strategically. But the wealthy understand something emotionally mature. You don't risk everything. You risk something. Small chips many times, not all chips at once. Success is not won in one moment, it compounds. Risk is not a lightning strike, it's a controlled burn. One investment. One decision. One experiment. One step into uncertainty. Repeated. Refined. Improved. That's how the wealthy grow. The calm mind is the best investor. Risk looks terrifying when emotion drives decisions. Fear magnifies losses. Anxiety shrinks opportunity. Doubt paralyzes potential. You cannot make smart financial decisions in a chaotic mental state. This is why emotional discipline is a wealth skill. When markets crash, the emotional sell, the wealthy buy. And when opportunity appears, the emotional hesitate, the wealthy move. When people panic, the wealthy remain rational. Nothing compounds like emotional control. The biggest wins in history belong to those who stayed calm while everyone else shouted collapse. The world rewards clarity. Risk punishes panic. This is why you cannot grow financially without growing mentally. Wealth demands stability, not impulse. If you can't control emotion, you can't control risk. If you can't control risk, you can't build wealth. How the 1% decide when to take risk. There is a simple blueprint the wealthy follow, a decision-making filter that turns uncertainty into advantage. 1. If downside is survivable, take the risk. Never risk ruin. Risk discomfort, not destruction. If losing the bet could destroy your future, don't walk into it. If losing slows you down but doesn't break you, proceed intelligently. 2. If upside outweighs downside, lean in. The wealthy pursue opportunities where a loss equals manageable, a win equals transformative. These are rare but worth hunting relentlessly. 3. If you understand the field, move faster. Knowledge reduces uncertainty. Information builds confidence. The more you know, the less risk feels like risk. Study before you invest. Prepare before you jump. Master the game before you play big. Risk is not a wall, it is a door. Most people stand outside it. The wealthy walk through it. The middle class clings to comfort. The 1% creates more comfort through discomfort. The world tells you to seek safety. The wealthy know safety is temporary, growth is forever. Risk is not the enemy. Unwillingness to risk is. The more risk you learn to price, manage, and use strategically, the more powerful you become. Because every step into uncertainty expands your capacity. Every decision strengthens your psychology. Every calculated risk widens your world. Wealth is not found in the known, it is found in the uncertain. Behind every fortune is a moment someone moved while others stood still. And in that moment, difference was born. And wealth followed. Chapter 9. The Mental Edge, Thinking Like the 1%. Wealth begins in the mind long before it appears in the bank. The richest individuals you admire did not stumble into success by luck. They cultivated a mental architecture that allowed them to see opportunities, make decisions, and act with precision where others hesitated. The 1% understand this. Money is not just numbers on paper. Money is a reflection of your mindset. Change your thinking and your finances will follow. Ignore your thoughts and wealth will remain a mirage. The difference is in perspective. The average person sees limitations. They see obstacles. They measure success by how others perceive them. They chase money reactively like a moth drawn to a flame, easily distracted and burned. The wealthy, however, see possibilities where others see walls. They see problems as profit opportunities, frustration as innovation fuel, risk as leverage when calculated. Time is currency more valuable than money. The 1% don't ask, why me? They ask, why not me? The power of decisive action. Most people overthink, overanalyze, and underperform. They wait for perfect conditions that never arrive. They treat hesitation as caution, when in reality it's opportunity lost. The 1% make decisions fast and adjust faster. They understand that indecision costs more than a wrong decision ever could. Mistakes are not failures, they are data points. They are feedback loops to refine strategy and improve future outcomes. Decisive action is a mental muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger your wealth potential becomes. Identity drives income. Here's a truth few understand: who you believe you are dictates what you earn. If you see yourself as someone who lives paycheck to paycheck, you will. If you see yourself as capable, disciplined, and creative, your income aligns with that identity. The 1% invest heavily in self-perception. They read, learn, and surround themselves with environments that reinforce their identity as successful, capable, and financially intelligent. Money is a reflection of this internal identity, amplified over time. Emotional discipline, the ultimate financial tool. While others react emotionally to market fluctuations, opportunities, or setbacks, the wealthy maintain composure. Emotional discipline allows them to invest when others panic, negotiate when others concede, innovate when others complain, persist when others quit. Your emotions should never control your bank account, your strategy should. Wealth is psychological, not just numerical. The habit of persistent learning. The elite understand, knowledge compounds like money. What you learn today builds your capacity to earn tomorrow. Books, mentors, experiences, and mistakes are the raw materials of wealth. They do not chase trends, they chase understanding. Every new insight increases their leverage. Every new skill multiplies their value. Your mind is your most valuable asset. Guard it, feed it, expand it, compound it. The fear paradox. Fear is inevitable. Risk is inevitable. Mistakes are inevitable. Yet, the 1% do not avoid them, they use them. Fear signals opportunity. Discomfort signals growth. Challenge signals leverage. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" the wealthy ask, "What will I gain if I move forward despite the fear?" This mental reframing transforms paralysis into momentum. A daily mindset practice. Begin each day asking, "What decisions today will multiply my value?" Visualize success but plan for setbacks. Review past mistakes as lessons, not failures. Surround yourself with people who challenge and inspire. Commit to learning 30 minutes a day. Knowledge is compounding capital. The mental edge is invisible, but it is real. It is what allows one person to turn $100 into $1,000 while another loses it in a week. It is what differentiates those who accumulate wealth steadily from those who work tirelessly without ever escaping mediocrity. Wealth is never just earned with hands and hours. Wealth is thought, belief, and action aligned. Your mind is the first bank you open. If you invest there wisely, the rest follows. Chapter 10: Habits of the 1%. Systems that create unstoppable wealth. Wealth is rarely accidental. It is a product of intentional habits repeated over years, sometimes decades. The elite don't rely on motivation, luck, or inspiration, they rely on systems. Systems remove emotion, reduce friction, and create automatic progress. They make wealth inevitable. The poor chase sporadic bursts of effort. The middle class follows trends and fads. The wealthy engineer their routines so that the right actions happen every day almost automatically. The power of systems over goals. Most people set goals. I want $10,000 in savings this year. The 1% ask instead, what system will generate money consistently over time? Goals are results-oriented and dependent on external factors. Systems are process-oriented and within your control. A system keeps you moving even when motivation is gone. A daily saving system compounds quietly. A consistent learning system multiplies your skill. A disciplined investing system grows wealth without effort. This is why the wealthy rarely fail. Not because they are smarter, but because their systems are bulletproof. Daily habits that compound into fortune. Morning planning. They start the day by identifying 3 high-value tasks. Not 10, not 20, just 3. Focus creates leverage. Tracking money in progress. Income, spending, and investments are not left to memory. They are logged, reviewed, and optimized. Continuous learning. 30 to 60 minutes daily of reading, courses, or mentorship. Knowledge compounds faster than money. Networking. Regularly connecting with high-caliber individuals expands opportunity. Who you know multiplies what you can do. Health and energy management. A healthy body creates leverage in every decision and action. Without energy, systems fail. Reflection and adjustment. Weekly review of decisions, outcomes, and systems. Fine-tuning keeps progress steady. Consistency in these habits compounds into massive advantage over years. It's not flashy, it's relentless. The leverage of automation. The 1% understand leverage is not just human, it's also mechanical. Systems, tools, and automation allow them to grow wealth while they sleep. Automating savings and investments ensures capital grows without temptation to spend. Using software, delegation, or assistance frees time for high-value decisions. Leveraging intellectual property, courses, or products creates income streams independent of effort. Automation is not cheating, it is multiplying output without multiplying stress or hours. Systems build resilience. Life is unpredictable. Markets crash. Jobs disappear. Businesses fail. The wealthy don't depend on luck. They depend on systems that survive chaos. Multiple income streams protect against loss. Emergency funds shield against setbacks. Skill development ensures you remain valuable in any economy. Resilience is engineered, not hoped for. Systems make wealth durable. The 1% think long-term, systematically. Most people chase instant gratification. The next raise, the next trend, the next sale. The wealthy think in decades. They engineer systems that grow steadily, quietly, and exponentially. Small daily actions. Reading, investing, networking, learning, saving, accumulate like compound interest. Momentum is created when these habits reinforce one another. Motivation is irrelevant. The system is unstoppable. If you want wealth to follow, you cannot rely on bursts of effort. You must build a life that generates results automatically. Your call to action. It's time to stop dreaming about wealth and start building the systems that make it inevitable. Identify one daily habit that will grow your income or skill, and commit to it. Set up an automatic system for saving or investing. Even a small amount counts. Audit your routines. Remove low-value actions that drain your time and energy. Connect with at least one person this week who can expand your perspective or opportunity. Track and refine your system. Small adjustments compound faster than sporadic effort. Remember, the wealthy don't wait for luck. They create luck through systems. They don't rely on inspiration. They rely on process. They don't hope for freedom, they engineer it. If you start today, even with tiny steps, the system will carry you further than you imagined. Momentum is real. Compounding works. Your financial life is ready to shift, but only if you act. Decide now. Build your system. Start your climb.